As a parent, you're allowed to make mistakes. Own up to them. The problem you get into in a mistake is you keep covering up for them. It's sort of a parallel we're hearing with the politics today. Nixon would even had a problem. If you see this, we made a mistake. People around me did this. I'm responsible. Nothing would happen to Nixon. Nothing wrong in saying you made a mistake. It was judgment you thought was okay at the time. It isn't. You respect someone could say, I made a mistake. Is that correct?
Well, not only is it correct, but when we do studies, psychologists do studies, and they look into what we call conscience development. And one of the signs of a person who has a higher level of conscience, where, in other words, they're not, the reason they try to do right is not just because they're afraid of getting punished, but they actually want to add something positive to society, to their family, to their own lives. People like that are flexible, and they're very willing to admit mistakes and then problem solve. So I use the same analogy with the politicians. We have these politicians who are at this very, very, it seems, operating, there's a kind of low common denominator where they don't want to admit any mistakes. They don't want to get caught in anything. They're afraid of a negative reaction. As a result, they cover up.
They keep blaming everybody else. You know something? If you're the head of a corporation or a government or anything, a parent, own up to the problem. And what happens? You feel better about yourself, and at that point you make positive, constructive gains. Is that correct?
Yes. A parent who, when you problem solve and you actually admit you're wrong, come up with a strategy, and you employ it, there's a concept we call in psychology mastery. And for mastery to develop, you have to have had significant situations where you had a problem solve. And people who have what we call high levels of mastery, meaning they've tried, they failed, they tried, they didn't do so well, eventually they master something, have tremendous boost in self-esteem and well-being.